If you have oily skin like me, stay tuned to see my flawless makeup routine. You're gonna love it. Hey y'all, it's your girl Kayla J, and I am back. Okay, so I have very, very oily skin. So when I do my makeup, the first key is to have a great base. So we're gonna start with the Yummy Skin Blurring Balm by Danessa Myricks. This is one of my new staples. I was originally using the e.l.f. Grip Hydro Primer, so either one of those will work just fine. I'm starting to prefer the Danessa Myricks because I love the way that it goes on. I love her entire line of products. Like, Auntie Danessa, you did your thing. So then next you're gonna go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze Gel. I have very, very coarse hair, and if you have very, very coarse hair on your face as well as I do, this is a great brow gel to kind of like just lay everything down and make it slick. Next, I take the spoolie in on my eyebrow pencils. So for context, I use the Benefit Precisely My Brow pencil in the shade 6. I want to say maybe it's like cool black or something like that, but the shade 6 is perfect. So I use the spoolie in just to make sure that all of the brow gel is like evenly distributed. Now this trick I learned from Jackie Aina years ago. This is to fill in any smile lines or places on your face where your makeup creases. So she said use the Morphe Eyelid Primer. They have now discontinued it, but I have a bunch more still at the house. But this is the Morphe Eyelid Primer, and I'm putting it in the spots on my face where I crease up the most. And then I'm going to go in with the Laura Mercier Translucent Honey Powder and just like dab that in. But I'm also going to go up under my eyes and like pretty much anywhere where I get oily the most, just to kind of set the primer itself, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like setting the primer has been a major key. Next, for any of my areas that are typically more dark, I actually go in with a concealer that is the closest to my skin tone, but has like a slight reddish tint. Instead of using an actual color corrector, to me, this has worked the best. So I love the Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer. I use the shade 12, and then I let that sit. And while that is sitting, this is when we go in and do the eyebrows. So I go under, same Benefit Precisely My Brow pencil. And like I said, I use the shade 6, I want to say. And I'm just going under so that I know where to carve. This also helps when I have like excess hair and I'm trying to cover it. Next, we're going to use the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Toffee and go underneath the brows. I know my makeup routine may look a little weird, and I know I don't do everything perfectly. I'm no makeup artist, but this is what works for me, and it helps my makeup last for up to 16 hours with minimal padding or anything like that. Like by hour 16, I'm just now getting to my Invisimatte to like, matte it back down. As you can see, we're just going to blend everything, fill it in, like, make it make sense. It's not going to be perfect right now because this is just the undershade. Also, we're going to set our color correcting, quote unquote, that we did, because if you don't set it, it's going to move as soon as you put your foundation on. And for foundation, I love the Lancome Idolier. I can never pronounce it right. I use the shade 500C. This foundation has been a game changer. I've been using it for about 2.5 years now. I got it as a gift, like a PR gift, and it actually worked out perfect. I spray a little bit of the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray on my brush before I rub my foundation in, and we're just going to go from there. But yeah, filling the foundation really, really good. Also, I use a lot of Morphe brushes. Morphe just has a lot of great products. But yes, just make sure you're getting the foundation everywhere. This foundation to me is pretty full coverage. Like I said, I'm not a makeup artist. I don't know enough about coverage and things like that. But I do know I love this foundation, and that's all you also need to know. So after you put your foundation on, you're going to go in with the Fenty Invisimatte. This has been the secret to getting the most flawless set foundation. So after I put my foundation on, I set it with the Fenty Invisimatte. It is an invisible powder, but it like just sets the foundation down so I don't have to worry about it moving. Next, we're going to make sure it's set and locked in place with the e.l.f. Hydro Grip Dewy Setting Spray. Make sure you shake it up first. This is a trick I learned from my girl Maya the Beauty. Love you, Bookie. So once that has dried down, we're going to go in with our liquid blush. I use the shade Perky Poppy Glow by Juvia's Place. It's really, really pigmented, which I love. Once we kind of pat that in, I also make sure to get that on my nose. If it's super bright, just stay with me. Like, we're going to fix it. Just stay with me. So then we go in with our concealers and we're going to let them set. My first one I use for my inner corners is the MAC Studio Fix 24 Hour. I use the shade NC48. Unfortunately, you can only get this shade online or at the MAC counter. This is not one of those shades you can get anywhere else, unfortunately, but it's worth it. And then in the smaller regions, I use the Tarte Shape Tape Creamy Concealer. I use the shade 53 in Deep. And so those are the two concealers that you see mixed on my face. Those are my two that I absolutely, absolutely love. And we're just going to blend those in. Also, for context, I do not use a beauty blender. I actually prefer to blend with brushes. It has been the most successful for me. It has been the easiest for me. And it's also the best way for me not to use so much product. I feel like with my beauty blender, I was always using like an excessive amount of product. And yeah, I got tired of wasting money. Truthfully, I got tired of wasting money. So I prefer to use brushes. My makeup artist taught me how to do my makeup with a full brush. So yeah. Once that is nice and blended, you're going to spray a little bit more of the Morphe setting spray. Now we're going to go in with the Sephora Microsmooth. I used the shade 58 Almond. I thought they discontinued this stuff. So the last time I grabbed it, I grabbed two. This is my last one. I have not been back to Sephora to see if they still have it. But I got put onto this through one of the twins. I want to say it was Alyssa or it might have been Arnell. Please do not shoot me in the comments because I do not remember which one. But they pretty much put me onto the powder itself and I use it to set my concealers. Next, we're going to go back in with the Translucent Honey by Laura Mercier. This is considered like my baking process. I don't use as much as I used to set all of my products, but I use a generous amount and I just make sure I kind of pat it in as I go so that it still has a slight highlight, but it's not like crazy to where when I'm trying to buff it out, I feel like I'm just constantly like spreading powder across my face. It's not that bad. But I make sure I go underneath both my eyes, the sides of my nose. I do my upper lip, I do my chin, and I put a little bit on my forehead, like a very minimal amount, not too much. Next, we're going to go in with the MAC blush in the shade Raisins. So the crazy thing about the Raisin shade is it acts almost as a contour and a blush, which I really, really love. My big sister Ari put me onto this, and I love how it does a little bit of both. Like you're able to use it as a blush as well, like I said, as a contour. So when I use this shade, I don't do a powder contour or a cream contour. I just go straight in with it. Next, we're going to use the Veil Minerals, which is ULTA's brand. I love to use this to buff out. Like this is like my setting shade in my skin tone shade. So I use this powder to kind of buff out everything that I've already done and give it like this nice natural blend all the way around. At this point, I got to move my headband back because I got to make sure my makeup blends and that it doesn't look crazy out here. Then we're going to go back in with the Morphe one more time. After this step, we're going to use the Fan Fest by Benefit to do our like bottom lashes. So I get clusters for my top. I actually do them myself, but the bottom I like to do a mascara just to kind of make it pop so it doesn't look so ashy under the eyes because I do not do eyeshadow. That is something in 2026 I am going to learn, but until we get there, this is where we are. After I do that, I go back in with my Benefit Precisely My Brow pencil and just fill my eyebrows into my liking. Again, I don't care if my makeup look is a slight bit outdated with some of the things that I do. This is what works for me. This is what I like to do. This is how I like my makeup to look. I will be exploring other ways to do my eyebrows in 2026, but for now, we're going to stick to this. After you completed that step, you're going to go in with your highlight. I like to go in with the One Size palette. Their palettes are some of my favorites. I also like the blushes in this palette, but specifically, this is the Cheek Clapper 3D Blush Trio. I think the shade is Fat Ass, like PHAT. And the highlight shade is BBL. So literally that's what it looks like. It's so pretty though. After I put on my highlight, then I set my face with the One Size setting spray. I use the one with the sunscreen in it. To me, it smells the best. And yeah, I just really, really like this. But as you can see, this is what it looks like when it's set. So then I go in and I line my lips with Cold Blooded by Fenty. It is one of my favorite lip liner shades. It can do no wrong in my eyes. And for my lip gloss choice, I love the Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Cotton Candy. As you can see, this tube is pretty much empty because this is that girl. And if you follow these makeup tips and try these things, you will be that girl too, because look at that beat, baby. I'm gonna just give y'all a few seconds to get into it. And remember, this is a 16-hour long wear beat. If you have oily skin, then you know getting makeup to last longer than 4 hours is a task. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Stay tuned and come back for more. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and can't wait to see you guys again. Bye.